Easy, easy, son. There you go. What's up, Pikes Peak RC race news around the nation? It is Robbie here to give you guys the latest and greatest news for what's going on near, here, far, and abroad. What's up, everybody? And first things first, I want to congratulate our teammates out there, Justin Simonson, Robert Props, and Colin Leonard. And Colin Leonard stepped up, driving in that pro, but coming out on top. Justin doing that third place and fifth place and the RC Pro-Am out there in North Carolina. So good job to you guys out there, supporting each other and stuff. And I was just watching the race. I think Justin kind of got robbed on one of the races, but I'll probably talk to him about that when I get a chance to. But other than that, what we got here today, we are going to do a review. And I told you guys I was going to do a review on this. And this is the GENS Ace iMARS D1000 Plus. What the smart app and G-Tech technology. All right, so we're going to go through on the box right here. Obviously, you guys seen the colorway all the way around, and then we'll get into the specs on this. All right, so again, the model is the iMARS D1000 Plus. Input voltage AC 100 to 240 volt at 50-60 hertz. Okay, keep in mind, this is an AC charger. This is not a DC charger. It's an AC charger, so you can't connect a power supply to it. All right. Input voltage or output voltage is DC 0 to 32 volts. Charge current 25 amps times 2. All right. So that's 25 amps per channel. Output power, max 1,000 watts. All right. So max 1,000 watts, but 500 times 2. So again, 500 watts per channel, which is more than enough for charging and stuff. Discharge power, 70 watts times 2. All right. So again, you're looking at about 35 watts of discharge power per channel. And then the battery types, LiPo, Li-Fi, LIHV, Li-ion, and that's 1 through 7S. And then on the NIM batteries, you're charging from 1 to 18S on the NIM batteries. I don't know who else uses NIM batteries anymore. Must be one of those old school type little things. All right, balance current, max 2 amps times 3 on the cell. So we'll go through that. Working mode, you'll have your charge, your storage, your discharge, your balance, and digital power, and then cycle. All right, so this thing is heavy, weighing at 1.7 kilos. That's what it says here on the box. And I want to say probably about a good 3-4 pounder. She's a pretty heavy one. All right, and again, I was talking about the smart app, and we'll get to that as we get further into the video. So there is an app that you can monitor everything, and again, like I said, we'll go through that. And then to get the app, what you're going to do is you're going to scan this QR code right here and get the app for it, right? So supporting Apple and your Samsung products. Again, go ahead, scan the QR code, and you'll get all that stuff that you need. All right, so opening up the box, and we'll get into the batteries here and pull out this behemoth of a charger. A lot of people say it's an overkill. I highly doubt it. All right, so again, she is a heavy one. All right, so in the box, you'll get the charger. I've already used the charger already, but again, good size interface on here. You got your A and B channels, and then you got your balance ports with the G-Tech ports as well there too. Now, with most of the chargers that you guys normally get, a lot of them get that, you'll either get the banana plug-ins, or you'll get that XT60. With this new GENS Ace 1000, I'll tell you what, you get them XT90 plugs right there, and it does come with them. All right, so you get all that stuff. Again, the interface, the 4 buttons that you normally see on your iMARS chargers, your 300, your 100, and your 65, pretty much almost the same way. The only difference is this has a power on-off button, which is right here. Then I think it's where side is it? There it is. Can't really see it, but you have a USB port right there to do all your software updates. All right, so that is the charger itself. Again, you get your plug port right there, and there is no DC connection. All right, so again, this is all strictly AC power. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that around for you guys. And in the box, obviously, you get your power cable, which is right here. I already got it out. Get ready to prep for you guys. And then you get your USB cord, which is right here. All right, so to do your software updates, and then you will get your, put that aside, let me put this aside as well too. You'll get your adapter cables to plug into the charging A port and the B port. All right, so let's get these all situated real quick. You got your XT90 to your XT60s, which most people use are the XT60s. Then you have your XT90s to your Dean's plug, a very popular plug. And then you have your XT90s to your EC5s. All right, so again, these are what comes with the battery charger. All these components right here. What I am using with the charger are the XT60s and XT90s. All right, so I'll put these aside real quick as we get ready to show a demonstration with you guys. Again, it is a very cool charger. All right, so many battery types that this thing charges with. Again, I brought some batteries out for you guys thanks to GENS Ace. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate the 6300 with you guys. And again, the 6300 has the 5mm bullets with the balance port right here. And then, do I got a balance? Oh, there it is. And then you got your balance cable right here. So again, you'll plug it in using the correct cable from your XT90 to your XT60. And then I'll use this awesome power cable from Avid. And I got it in that cool white. So again, I'll use that as I demonstrate for you guys. So I'm using the GENS Ace 6300, which is a very popular battery for your 8-scale buggies. Another popular battery is the 7500, which is a lot bigger than your 6300. So it's right there. Perfect for your truggies. Now, these tracks are getting big on the East Coast. They're pretty good size, but you got tracks like what we have here in Colorado, which are a little bit smaller. I think the 6300 will do just fine between both platforms of the buggy and the truggy. And then the 7500, if you know, you want that extra oomph and get in a couple laps, couple practice laps before the actual main starts. All right, so again, these are your red line batteries, 130C, 140C, and again, it charges with your balance port to include your 5mm bullets right there. All right, and then we get into the G-Tech technology, what I was just talking about with this charger. All right, so on the front port right here, you guys have a cool center plug right there on top of the balance plug, and that'll let you know what battery that is. That only works with the G-Tech batteries, and I got a couple here. I got the 5300 in a GENS Ace 7.4 60C, and it's G-Tech, to include the 5300 HV battery right here. This is the advanced G-Tech batteries. So I use this when I'm kind of like testing and tuning the vehicles and whatnot. Probably bring this down to my brother because he needs to get used to this battery technology stuff. So again, with the GENS Ace G-Tech, and a cool way to see these batteries for what they are, or to get a full positive ID on them, on the balance plug, you'll see the G there, meaning it's got the G-Tech technology. And what it does, it has that little gold sensor port right there, and I'll plug right in. Automatically tells you what battery it is and automatically starts charging the battery for you at the correct rate and everything else to give the best power and sustain to make it sustain it at its most. All right, to, you know, the longevity of these batteries is what everybody strives for. All right, no different from the GENS Ace, that one being with the EC5 plug. This one has a Dean's plug. Again, looking for that G-Tech logo right there, and it plugs right in to your balance port, matching up to that sensor port on both of these. And again, it'll tell you directly what battery is on there and automatically charge it for you. And yeah, very simple, straightforward on the GENS Ace batteries. Right now, GENS Ace is dominating in the race world right now. Don't get me wrong, you got a bunch of other companies out there as well too, but the most used and always sold out are always the GENS Ace batteries. Again, I apologize, I do not know when the 6300s will be back in stock. Every time I look, they're always out of stock. And that was no difference from the GENS Ace 1000 right here, which was out of stock for a while and then it just came back in stock. So again, I've ordered 2 of these and they work just great. All right, so this is my travel one right here. All right, so we're going to get up in close and get a look on how the interface works and then charging both the G-Tech batteries and the regular 5mm bullet batteries. All right, so stay tuned for that. All right, everybody, here is a close-up of the iMARS D1000 Plus. All right, so again, when you plug her in, obviously the green light will be on. You can see that it is a powered on-off system, unlike the other GENS Ace chargers. So we're going to go ahead and power this on real quick. And you'll see that the interface is pretty big. All right, so we have channel A and channel B. I'll go ahead and hit the channel here. So we're on specifically channel A. Obviously it's an idle because there's nothing there. Then we'll go into channel B, and then we'll get into the settings. All right, so the select task, we'll go ahead and select the task here. We'll see what it's all about. So we have charge right here initially, and then you could go down to discharge, storage, balance, cycle, and digital power. Now, I don't know what digital power is. I'll probably have to look up that, but what you'll mainly use at all times will be your charge and storage to include your balance charge. All right, so we'll go back on that real quick. Then we'll get into your battery type. Now, depending on what your battery type is, most people that race 8-scale racing, again, will use the 6300. You'll see it right there. It's an LIHV battery. All right, so LiPo HV. So that's what that means. You have LIHV, high voltage. All right, so we'll go into that real quick. And then you have your regular LiPos. And again, another perfect example of a regular LiPo would be your 7.4. All right, so just like these 5300s and stuff like that. So you can see the difference on those. Normally your 2S's on the HVs will be like a 7.6. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, and then you'll have your Lion or Lylon. Then you'll have your Lifey. Your Lifey, you'll be charging Lifey batteries that are basically for your controller and stuff. So the majority of the people that charge or use the Lifey mode. All right, then we'll have your NIM mode for your old school drivers. In this case, we'll leave it on the LIHV because that's what I'm going to demonstrate with. So we'll go back on that. Target voltage. You can hit your target voltage ranging from 410 all the way to 440. All right, now if you guys can hear the cycling of the buttons and stuff like that, it lets you know. So me nominally, I keep mine on 4.35. All right, and then your cell count, 4S, I have my set on, but again, we'll go look into that real quick. You could charge from 1S, 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S, 6S, and your max will be 7S on this. Okay. All right. So when you, again, a lot of people get confused on this. When you're charging 1S, you are not using the balance ports at all. You're just charging because you're only charging one cell. All right. When you're charging 2S or more, that's when your balance ports will come into effect on that. Okay. So I have this one set on 4S. We'll keep it at that. And then the target current. All right. Most people like to charge 10 and below. I want to say nominal between 8 and 10. I keep mine a little bit higher at 15, but you can max that out all the way up to 25 amps as it states. All right. Now, that's if you're in a big rush or whatever, or you're putting a lot of power into your batteries. But again, I like to keep mine and keep the longevity of my batteries, and we'll keep it over at the 15 amps. All right. So that's what I charge at, and it starts pretty quick, or it charges pretty quick, I should say. All right. Then we get into your start task. Again, you'll hit the start task, and then, without balance connector confirm, blah, 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 blah. All right. So let's go ahead and connect a battery up real quick, and I am going to demonstrate, and I put those away. Oh, no, I did not. I'm going to demonstrate the G-Tech technology. All right. So you guys can get a feel for that real quick. So I'll go ahead and put in this plug. All right, and then I'll go ahead and connect the 5300 here. This is that G-Tech technology battery. You can see it right there. It says G-Tech. Go ahead and plug that in real quick on this EC5 connector. connector pretty much right there. And that's what I was talking about. You'll see that letter G right there. And you'll see that little sensor plug right there. And then you got your balance leads right there. So again, you can see it right on the charger. We'll plug that right in. As soon as I plug it in, it should read automatically on what this is. All right, so let me go back real quick and go to channel A. And if you see, it's charging in 2 seconds. We'll go back to that real quick. I don't know what happened there. Let's see. Start task, enter. Okay, there we go. So yes, it automatically charges right there. I guess I don't know what happened right there, but automatically when you charge it, it lets you know the amperage it's charging at, which is nominal for it, the milliamps, and then it'll tell you your per cell, your voltage. Right now they're pretty much almost identical all the way through, and it'll literally tell you how many more minutes remaining to charge this. Now if you notice, this charger is loud, but it's only loud because it got a humongous fan and the heat sinks in there are pretty big. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this real quick. That's showing you guys how the G-Tech technology works and stuff. Let me go ahead and let's see. Let me go ahead and see. There we go. We're at idle right now, so I'm good to say. Disconnect this, and I'll have to put this back in storage. I'm going to discharge it and put it back in storage. All right, so that's how that G-Tech technology battery system works. Now I'm going to go right into the 6300 here of the LIHV, and these plugs, since they're so brand new, they're hard to pull out. All right, so you guys see this already. All right, so I'm going to be tapping into channel A real quick. Let me go ahead and plug in my handy dandy trusty Avid battery charger adapter here, the cable. If you guys are looking for this, go to avidrc.com and check it out. So I'm going to plug this in and then get the balance port out. Right now it is showing 16.28 volts on the charger right now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the balance port, and if you notice, I don't have that G-Tech plug. So it automatically plugs in. Let me make sure I get this right, because, okay, prongs down. There we go. And it'll definitely show the battery. So I'm going to go into here real quick. I'll be on channel A, 16.3 volts. And then you'll see that there's nothing charging. It's at idle. So I'm going to go into the task of charging, LIHV, which it is. I got my target voltage at 4.35 volts per cell, and with each cell there's 4 of them, and then my target current being at 5.3 amps. Now I'm going to change that, and I'm going to go all the way up to 15, and I passed it, and I'll go into a start task. Now I'll go ahead and hit the start task real quick. Then it's going to tell me my battery type. Is it a LIHV? I'm going to go ahead and hit yes, and then we're going to charge. All right, so right now we're at 63%. We're at 4.07, 4.08 between the batteries. Now I'm going to show you on the app how this works. Right. Again, when you scan that QR code, you're going to see that when you sign up for it and stuff like that, and you get it on your app, you'll see it right there. You'll hit that letter G, and it'll go right in there. Automatically, I'm already logged in. It'll say D1000 Robbies. So I'll go ahead and hit that. When you see the little green icon, it lets you know it's connected. So right now, it's telling me that I'm in the charge selection right now. I'm at charging at 15 amps, no different. At 16.8 volts, which is showing right there, also right there, and it's showing that I'm at 222 milliamps. This is almost matching. It's trying to keep up with each other. All right, so those are my parameter settings. Then you can get your cell data, and you can see that I'm at 4.20, 4.21, 4.19. They're pretty much almost identical on the cell data. But on your battery information, it only works for G-Tech. So you'll see that right there, G-Tech battery exclusive feature. So obviously, granted it is a GENS Ace battery, I don't have the G-Tech battery hooked up. So my perimeter settings are right there. And then I can go to channel B, it'll show you that it is in idle. I'll go back to channel A where you see where it's highlighted green right there. It'll let you know that it is charging and it is in use. Also, it'll let you know right there. Now for me to stop this, which is pretty cool on this app feature, because I could be anywhere, you know, not too far away, but you know, I can see what's going on. And if I think that the battery's charged more than enough, I can go ahead and hit stop. And then you'll see right here on the screen, it stopped and it's back in idle. All right, so it's pretty cool feature for the GENS Ace technology that we got here. And then obviously you can see my cell data. We're at 415 all the way across the board, minus that 1.4 right there. And yeah, they'll give me enough oomph to drive around for a little bit, eat some of this battery up. All right, so it's actually pretty cool using the GENS Ace technology right here. Again, when you get it up, the app and stuff, and you'll see the green icon. All you gotta do is hit it, and it'll bring you straight to your app there. And you can name it however you want. Again, I got mine as the D1000 Robbie's. All right, so pretty cool feature. And that is pretty much it with the GENS Ace battery charger, and it does very, very well. So, all right, everybody, I hope you guys love the review on this battery charger, and hopefully it is your next purchase and adding to your arsenal of RC components. All right, so this is a very renowned charger. Don't get me wrong. If you don't need the ID1000, there is the 300, and there's other sizes out there as well too. I highly recommend the 300 or the 1000, but again, I'm always constantly charging batteries. I am pitting for about 3 of us, you know, both my boys to include myself, and need all that charging capability. So again, the GENS Ace chargers have not failed me one bit. And again, the ID1000 and the 300 do wonders. And again, my choice of weaponry is the GENS Ace ID1000. All right, great charger. I hope you guys enjoy this. All right, so again, coming up soon, I will announce when LRC will have their next club race to include Faster Laps. And I want to say Faster Laps is going to do a race on Father's Day. We'll see how that goes. And again, we'll get more into details on that with the 4x4/class, $5 entry, $25 to the winner. And again, we will see how that goes. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am Robbie with the Pikes Peak RC Race News around the nation. We will see you guys on the next vid.